UFC Fight Night on Fight Island. Calvin Kattar versus Dan Ige is in the books. It's a good night of fights. This video is for the real winners and losers of Wednesday night. To me, the first standout winner of the night was Leyna Jjua, who slapped on a beautiful armbar in like 2 minutes, 45 seconds, something like that, halfway through the round. She showed a game plan and she stuck to it. Early in the fight, as soon as the fight started, she took a few strikes standing up. She took them from Belbita, her opposition. They were pretty good strikes too, but she closed the distance. She got her to the ground and she slapped that armbar on her and forced a verbal submission, which is always fun to see. Her opponent, Belbita, screamed out in agony. Obviously, that thing was tight. Obviously, that thing was painful. And Jjua gets her first win in the UFC, her second fight in the UFC, but she gets her first win. And, that's got to be a good feeling. So, to me, one of the clear winners of the night was Leyna Jjua. Immediately following the Jjua fight was Jared Gordon versus Chris Fishgold. And I'm not going to call anybody a winner here, but I'm going to call Fishgold, for the sake of this video, a loser. I think he did not look too good Wednesday night and comes out with the stock dropping a little bit. One of the main things is that he lost 30-26 across the board on all cards. I think that's pretty notable. You don't see that a whole lot. Most of this fight was fought on the ground with Gordon on top, Fishgold on the bottom. And to Fishgold's defense, he did look for that guillotine choke a few times and came close a few times, but was ultimately unsuccessful. He just didn't have the pace and his ground position, his ground control. He just got overwhelmed. And I think that this won Gordon the fight. But the things that to me make Fishgold a bigger loser here than just losing the fight was that, one, he missed weight coming in, and that's never a good look. You're a professional fighter. That's the first box you got to check. You got to come in on weight. Otherwise, the win doesn't really count towards your divisional record. You're not eligible for post-fight bonuses. You just got to do it. But more so, Fishgold has lost a few in a row. And I feel like he could be in danger of losing his roster spot. He's lost 3 out of 4 UFC fights. And at the top organization in the world, that's just enough to put you in danger. So to me, Fishgold ends up on the losing end today in a few ways. These are some names I'm going to have trouble with. The commentators even had trouble with it. I don't know these guys too well, as they're both making their UFC debut, and that is Modestas Bukauskas versus Andreas Michailidis. This was an unusual fight because, first of all, while it went on for 5 minutes, it was fun to watch. Both guys landed some pretty good strikes. But obviously, at the end of the fight, this is one people probably remember. At the end of the fight, Michailidis went for that takedown, and Bukauskas was able to stop it, and he was able to put his head on his hip, which is always a dangerous place to put your head when you're going for that takedown. And Bukauskas was able to drop those devastating, elbow to the side of the head elbows. And right there as the round ended, Bukauskas was unable to respond to the referee the way the referee wanted him to respond. He fell through the cage door when the door opened. Now, that may be a little unfortunate for Michailidis, that he didn't know the cage door was opening. I kind of think that's probably what happened. But at the same time, he's got to play the game. You got to respond to the referee. And he was unable to do this. And it was a bad look. He looked confused. He looked like he didn't know what was going on, and he looked hurt and damaged. It's probably not the best way to start your UFC career. So to me, Michailidis was a loser on Wednesday night. Following that Michailidis display, we have a really good fight between Ricardo Ramos and Laurent Murphy. I was looking forward to this one. Ramos, I like him. Ramos, I like him because he's pretty flashy, but he came into this one being too flashy. he threw a lot of pretty wild stuff, spinning kicks, spinning jumping kicks and things like this, and they weren't even getting close. And on top of that, he kept doing that, back step, foot sweep or whatever. I'm not even sure what he was trying to accomplish with that. And kind of made it, I don't know if he was, I usually like to see guys hot dogging, but only if it works. And it just wasn't working for Ramos that night. He eventually got put on his back by a boxer and put away with a pretty vicious ground and pound with some elbows, some fists. And to me, Murphy was a big winner tonight because, one, he wasn't supposed to win. He came in as the underdog. He came in undefeated, and he kept that undefeated record. And took out a guy that, first of all, was supposed to win, but also a guy that was kind of hot dogging around him. So to me, you get a big winner here and a big loser. Ramos should have done a little bit more. Probably should have stuck to his game plan, but ended the night pretty unconscious, and with his opponent winning some extra money as Laurent Murphy was awarded Performance of the Night honors. So to me, you got a winner and a loser here. The second fight on the main card was between Talia Santos and Molly McCain. This was a fun fight to me because Talia just looked amazing. She looked good everywhere. She had big kicks and knees. They were very much on point. Her takedowns were good. She showed excellent ground control. She mounted her a few times, nearly even got the Darce choke. Talia looked great. She kept her foot on the gas, never backed down, just kept going strong, and was able to take out a ranked opponent. Granted, a number 15 ranked opponent, but still a ranked opponent. She was the underdog. And McCain never went away. McCain never made it easy for her. She was there through the whole fight. She was always trying to win, always trying to get the finish. She understood where she was in that fight. She knew she dropped the first round. She knew she dropped the second round. In the third round, she knew she had to finish, and that's what she was trying to do. So I give big props to both of them, both to Talia for looking so good and just really improving her game from one outing to the next. And I also want to give props to Molly, who very easily could have rolled up and died, probably felt outclassed and outworked, but refused to show it, just refused to give up and remained in the fight. So to me, Talia is a big winner, and Molly's a winner here too. She earned my respect and probably that of many fans because she would not give up. So I call them both winners on Wednesday night. The co-main event tonight was Tim Elliott versus Ryan Benoit. I'm a big fan of Tim Elliott. I have been for a long time. I love that little scrappy dude. He's creative. I always enjoy watching fighters who are creative. And he was able to get a win by unanimous decision. It was a good fight. It was fun to watch, but there really wasn't a whole lot of damage going on here. In fact, this is probably a fight that I would probably just brush over, maybe not even mention. But there's a little bit of backstory here, and that is that Tim Elliott, he's been in this game for a while. He's been fighting some top people. But even that said, it's still all about the W, and he's been racking up some losses. By earning this unanimous decision victory, Elliott stopped a 3-fight losing streak. I feel like he really needed this win on his resume, and he got it. It was a hard-fought fight, one where, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of damage done by either guy. I think that Benoit did a good job of stopping his takedowns. When Elliott was able to get him down, he showed good position. He was definitely more active. Benoit was kind of calm and collected, but when he threw accurately and hard strikes. But Tim's pace and accuracy was enough to, shouldn't say accuracy, but his pace and aggression was enough to win him that fight. And like I said, I think that Elliott desperately needed to get another victory. So I'm going to call him a winner for being able to pull that off against a very game and legit opponent. Before I talk about the big winner tonight, I want to say that the undercard of this fight was a big winner. What was it? 5 finishes to 1 decision. All the main card fights went to decision, and although many of them were good fights, you always like to see a finish. The undercard was a big winner here tonight, and just with all those fights being stopped. But Moving on. The biggest winner for me was the main event on the undercard between John Phillips and Kazmat Chimaev. If I'm saying that right, Chimaev was clearly the biggest winner tonight. This was his UFC debut, and he completely smushed and pounded Phillips for 6.5 minutes, I guess. During that time, he only absorbed one strike, only one, and it wasn't a very damaging strike. He threw that head kick immediately as soon as the fight started, was able to take Phillips down and just pound on him for the rest of the first round. The second round started the same way, minus the head kick, just took him down and eventually ended the fight with that Darce choke. Chimaev keeps his undefeated professional record and is now 1-0 in the UFC. It's a very good way to start. He won Performance of the Night honors, even better way to start. In fact, I don't know if this is true, but it seems as though Chimaev was so impressive that he's actually been signed to fight on this weekend's fight between Teal and Whitaker on that card. Which is a huge compliment for Chimaev to turn around on a week and a half's notice to fight his second UFC fight. So hats off to Khamzat Chimaev. You have made an impression on me, and I'm sure UFC fans all over the place. We're looking forward to seeing what else you can do, buddy. Keep it up. So that wraps it up for my real winners and losers for UFC Fight Night Kattar versus Ige. Stay tuned or subscribe for more recaps from past events, predictions for future events, or just my thoughts on the goings-on in the MMA community. Till next time.